Hello Samurai Academy and welcome back to another video. I hope everyone enjoyed the last video I made. So this one's going to be on speed and how we can improve this to overall improve our performance, because we know this is a really important part of football and really any sport. So in this video we're going to be going through similar things that we did in the last episode: a warm-up, a workout, cool down. We'll be talking about player analysis as well, so analysing players and seeing some examples of some good speed in football matches. And then we'll also be going through our nutrient of the day and how this can impact and improve our speed. Okay, so let's just get straight into the warm-up, guys. Similar to last time, if any of these exercises or stretches hurt you too much, it doesn't mean you need to be forced to do them. Just skip them, move on to the next one. So let's get straight into it. We're going to be doing either 8 to 10 reps or 20 reps depending on what the exercises are, but I'll show you on the screen just so you know. So let's get to it. Okay, cool. So warm-up's done. We're going to just jump straight into the workout. So this workout is going to be a HIIT workout. If you don't know what that is already, HIIT stands for high intensity interval training. This basically just means we're going to be doing really explosive training and high intensity stuff, but for a shorter period of time. Really good for training speed, because what we're doing is just using really fast-paced reps, fast-paced movement, and then resting for a little bit before we do all of it again. But before we do that, I'm just going to explain the workout quickly. So what we're going to be doing is each exercise I perform, you're going to be doing it for 20 seconds, resting for 20 seconds, and you're going to perform each exercise like that, and you're going to see how many rounds you can do of each of the 5 exercises. So you'll see the 5 exercises first, then again go over them, 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off, and repeat the round. And this is all down to you guys. See how many rounds you can do. 3 is a good amount, 5 is a good amount. Just really try your hardest. The most important part of this is making sure you're doing the highest intensity you can as possible. And again, don't worry if you do get confused, the writing will be up on the screen, so don't worry, just have a look and yeah, get straight into it.
Okay, so we're going to start with standing sprints. Is literally just sprinting on the spot, making sure our knees are as high as we can get them and we're driving off the balls of our feet. Okay, next up we have mountain climbers. These are really good for strengthening our core and really making sure we're activating those hip flexors in our legs. Okay, next up we've got wall drives, quite similar to mountain climbers, just the focus is more on the legs, making sure we're really exploding and putting as much power into the wall as we possibly can. Now we're into lunge jumps. That's similar to normal lunges, we're just really focusing on exploding, making sure we're getting much out of each jump as possible, and really make sure we're trying to get through these as fast as possible to keep the intensity high. So to finish up the warm-up, we're doing high knee skips. You don't need a skipping rope for this, you can just do the movement. You just need to make sure you're moving your arms and making sure your knees are high too.
Okay, so the workout is done, really well done guys. Yeah, so what we done last time, we went for a cool down, didn't we? I told you to pause the video. We're just going to do the same thing again. Your heart rate's going to be really high after that because of the high intensity. So pause the video here, go for a walk 5-10 minutes down the road to get some fresh air, and then come back and watch the second part of the video. Okay, so firstly I'm just going to talk about why HIIT training is so good, and how it can really benefit your performance on and off the field. So firstly, it trains powerful movements and explosive movements. This basically means that your muscle fibers get used to these movements and produce muscle fibers that can produce large amounts of force. It also increases your lactate threshold, which basically means you're able to train harder and faster for longer amounts of time before you start to burn. So So this again is really good and useful for football. And lastly, it increases your VO2 max, which basically means you're able to use and utilize more oxygen per minute. So this basically increases your endurance. So these are the reasons, really vital, guys, that we train this. And it's also really quick. So instead of going out for a 30-minute run, you can go and do a 15-minute high intensity session and get the same benefits. Okay, so next up we've got our player analysis part of the episode. So like we did last time with power, we're going to do the same with speed today. I'm just going to show you a few examples of how speed can benefit you in match performance.
Okay, so our first example is Gareth Bale. Just look at the acceleration he uses after his first touch. He gets right round the player and is able to put the ball right at the back of the net. So here we have Mbappe. Just look at the acceleration he uses to get past 3 players there and then a fourth. On the fourth challenge, he gets tackled and he gets a penalty. So it just shows how speed can really benefit. Next up, we've got an example from Kubo. Here he manages to get around the player, accelerate and push past the goalkeeper. Really uses that speed to get past both players and ends up scoring a really nice goal. Lastly, we have the rugby player for Quarker. Manages to make an interception and just look at the speed past all the players here in Scotland. Unbelievable amounts of pace. This is just a really good example, guys, that speed is good in every sport, even rugby. It just really benefits to have acceleration. Here's another example here. Manages to beat past 3 or 4 players here and get round all of them and then scores the try.
Okay, so now we're on to our nutrient of the day. So today we're going to be talking about carbohydrates. These are our main source of energy. These can be found in the body as glucose, and they're also stored in the body as glycogen, which can then be used later on for energy in matches or whenever. Okay, so there's many ways we can maximize our performance with carbohydrates. The first one could be carbohydrate loading. This essentially just means eating a lot of carbohydrates before we train or play matches. So for example, we could consume 1 to 4 grams per kilo of body weight 4 hours before our matches. So for me, say if I wanted to consume 3 grams per kilo of body weight, I would do 3 times 84, which gives me 252 grams. So that's the amount that I'd have to ingest before a match to make sure I'm getting the maximum amount of energy that I can for the match. Another way of doing this is multiple transportable carbohydrates. This is called an MTC, and it basically means ingesting glucose alongside fructose. So fructose is sugar. So for example, if I was going to eat some oatmeal or some porridge before a match, I'd put a bit of honey on top of it, and it would increase oxidation rates of glucose by 75%, which is a massive amount. So yeah, this is also a really good technique, guys. Make sure that you digest it with a bit of sugar, and it increases the amount of oxidation of the glucose. Lastly, it's really important, especially for long endurance events like football, to make sure that we're eating low glycemic index foods. This basically means the lower the glycemic index, the slower release of glucose. So for example, white rice is a high GI food, a high glycemic index food, which means the energy from the rice will be used up quickly. If we're eating low GI foods, this means that the energy will be released slowly. Okay, perfect. So that's the end of the episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Just to recap over the things that we've learned today. So we've talked about how we train speed, hit sessions, so high intensity interval training, and how this can help our overall performance, endurance in games. We've also talked about carbohydrates and strategies that we can use to maximise the amount of carbohydrates we use in our games, and maximise the amount of oxidation rates in our carbohydrates. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.